Okay, let's talk about the midterms because you mentioned it for 1 second. So there was this ABC News poll that came out earlier this week showing it's tightening, that the Republicans are doing better. I mean, it's tightening from where it was when the Democrats made a little run for it late in the summer. And it was pointing out that historically, if you have a president whose approval rating is below 50%, then his party will lose about 14 seats. Sorry, above 50%. His party will lose about 14 seats in the midterms. If it's below 50%, historically, they'll lose around 3 dozen seats. If that's the case here, the Republicans have way more than they need to actually take control of the House back. And Joe Biden's approval rating at best right now is 39. It's about 39, according to that poll, 39%. At best, the highest I've seen lately has been like 42 when he was really making a run for it. It's nowhere near 50 is the point. So it does look more and more like it's going to be a bloodbath. Maybe it won't be quite as bad as it would have been in June when we had $5 gas, but it's going to be bad. And what do you think the odds of that are? Like, well, how do you like the Democrats' chances of losing the House? And what do you think is going to happen in the Senate? Because everybody, all the smart people I listen to are like, it's going to be within like 1 seat. You know, it could go either way.
I very rarely make a 100% guarantee, but I 100% guarantee the Republicans are going to take the House. Just structurally speaking, it is almost impossible for them not to take the House. They only have to pick up a few seats in order to do that. And right now, even sort of the low end estimates from Nate Silver or from the folks at the New York Times are suggesting the Republicans are going to pick up anywhere from about 15 to 20 seats. So it would be an absolute shock if Republicans don't pick up at least that number. You know, the idea of a 60-seat swing like we've seen in the past, I think that's largely been taken off the table because there's already been this great ideological sort in terms of congressional districts. So thanks to the redistricting, thanks to the fact that there are more kind of pure red seats versus pure blue seats, there aren't nearly as many crossover seats as there once were, seats that, for example, would have voted for Biden, but now are shifting into the Republican category. That said, the House, it's pretty clear that the Republicans are going to win the House. As far as the Senate goes, I'm a little bit more optimistic than I think most of the prognosticators are about the Republican chances in the Senate. First of all, I think Adam Laxalt is going to win his seat in Nevada over Cortez Masto. People aren't paying as much attention to that particular race as they should be. There's a lot of talk about Warnock versus Walker in Georgia because Walker is a fairly weak candidate. I think that because the Stacey Abrams campaign is really falling down on the job and Brian Kemp is going to clean her clock in Georgia, I think Walker probably wins that seat, which I might not have said a few months back. I also think that people are already giving up too early on the Fetterman-Oz race simply because Fetterman is not healthy. And that's a real problem for him. The fact that race centralized on Oz is just a demonstration of the power of the media, given how radical Fetterman is, because Fetterman really is like almost left of Bernie Sanders in a state that is certainly not Vermont. And so the possibility that Fetterman loses that seat, I'm going to say that he still has, sort of I would say a 60% shot at winning that seat, but I don't think it's anything like what you're seeing right now where people are saying it's a 90% shot that he wins that seat. Arizona looks very dicey for the Republicans, but Democrats already hold that seat. I think Ron Johnson is going to hold his seat in Wisconsin. So again, if I had to ballpark it right now, I think that I would put it like 55-45, the Republicans actually take the Senate. And that's a shift from where I was, I would say, even a few months ago.
All right. So even though you're not necessarily in the business of prognosticating, let's spend a minute on the Republican side and on Trump DeSantis. The latest poll shows now that at least in Florida, where you've moved from California, DeSantis is up with Florida GOP primary voters, which is somewhat of a harbinger. He's got it's 48-40 now, DeSantis over Trump, as the preference for Republicans in Florida. And in January, it was exactly the reverse. I think it was 47-40 in Trump's favor, right? So you've got a 15-point swing there in favor of DeSantis. And it has many asking, is Trump's influence starting to wane? Are Republicans ready to move on? What do you think?
I think that when you talk to most people who like Trump, even people who are really fans of Trump, and listen, I voted for him last time around. If he's the nominee this time around, I assume I'd vote for him again. The fact is that Trump is an extraordinarily tiring person to defend if you're on the right side of the aisle, because when his pitch in 2016 was basically they're attacking me because they're attacking you, I think that held a lot of weight. I think a lot of people saw that Trump had been very popular with the left for literally years. I mean, they were giving him Emmy Awards, and then all of a sudden they hate his guts. And they said, why is that happening? Well, it's probably because he's now defending us. And so he's taking the bullet for us. Well, since 2020, because Trump has been so focused in on the 2020 election, the idea has been you're supposed to sort of take the bullet for him. Right? He's asking of you that you go out there and you talk about the election and forget about what you think about it. You should make this like the number one priority is talking about the election. And most Republicans are like, I don't really want to talk about that as my number one priority. My number one priority is stopping what Joe Biden is doing right now. I don't think Trump did himself any favors when he essentially handed 2 Senate seats to the Democrats in Georgia. I don't think Trump is doing himself any favors right now when he raises a vast quantity of capital and then does not expend it on many of the candidates that he's helped boost to victory in a lot of these Republican primaries. I'm talking like J.D. Vance in Ohio or Mehmet Oz in Pennsylvania or Blake Masters in Arizona. And then they look at DeSantis, and DeSantis took what was a very purple state and he has turned it almost bright red. And he's very effective in terms of how he's governing. He's very effective at taking on the media. He doesn't have the pizzazz of Trump because nobody in, I think, human history has had the pizzazz that the President Trump has. He's just a magnetic figure in a way that no politician of my lifetime really is. On the left, you might say Obama, but that's probably it. But again, I think that if you are a Republican who's just looking to beat the Democrats and to change policy, and you want an executive who actually knows how to govern, see, it's not that Trump was horrible at governing. It's that the man had never held a governmental position in his life. He came in and he has an executive branch of 2 million people. And so the question is, who do you fire? DeSantis spent years in Congress. Now he's the governor of a major state. And so if he comes in, he's going to come in with like a game plan on day one in a way that Trump really had to sort of feel his way through. Plus, DeSantis is just a much more disciplined campaigner. I mean, he only talks about the things that he wants to talk about. And so he provides the Democrats, I think, with a lot less fodder to attack. It doesn't mean they won't attack him. They've tried it. But that's, I think, precisely the point is that unlike a lot of other Republican candidates in the past, I remember when Scott Walker was a front runner in 2016 for all of 5 minutes, or Tim Pawlenty. Remember, there was a lot of talk about these candidates who sort of blew up on the launch pad. With DeSantis, because he's gone through the wars over COVID with the media, where he was made like public enemy number one by the media, and then he stood up to it, or when he went to war with Disney, or now, I assume, after this hurricane, there will be attempts to suggest that he's responsible for whatever human suffering happens in the state of Florida. Because of all of that, I think a lot of Republicans have faith that DeSantis can fight back. So I'm not super shocked to see people, even people who are warm toward Trump, thinking, okay, well, I love Trump, but I'm kind of ready for something new, maybe somebody who's a little bit more disciplined, who I don't have to spend mental space on with regard to his Twitter feed.
If you're like me, you're growing more and more concerned about the future. The market is all over the place. Inflation is at its highest level in 40 years. Interest rates are skyrocketing and they're not done yet. Market experts not only use terms like recession right now, but economic hurricane and unprecedented. If you want to protect your future, call a precious metals dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. Now, they can show you how to protect your savings and your retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio. That's the key, diversify with physical gold and silver. All it takes to get started is a short phone call, and they will have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or inside your IRA or 401k. And they will keep it simple. This is the highest rated firm in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied clients. And as an exclusive offer for my fans, if you call them right now, they're going to give you up to $1,500 of free silver and a free safe on qualifying orders. So don't wait. Call them now. It's 866-518-2955. 866-518-2955. Or you can text my name, Megyn, Megyn, to 65532. Okay, so either call 866-518-2955 or text MEGYN to 65532. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.